Welcome back to DM Prep. My name is Ian and I'll be your DM for today. Today we are prepping episode 26 of the Gilded Troll Plays Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. When last we left off, the heroes fucked right off from Scorpion Island and decided not to murder the Lotus Witch, much to my chagrin. And they headed to the Garden of Helios, which was completely unprepared on my part. I don't know why I have this Uriel stat block up right now. I'm going to pull up the Garden of Helios. There we go. So we got the Garden of Helios. Helios, of course, being this beautiful golden man. I mean, a little bit of a butterface, but that's okay. How's it going? Excuse me. How's it going, Andy? How's it going, everyone who stuck around? Excuse me. Thank you for continuing to be here. Your most creative artificer was a hamster in a mech suit. He's taking a homunculus ASAP for his dog. Interesting. I mean, my artificer is a centaur. Armorer. He wears a suit of power armor, and he has an Iron Man squirrel for a homunculus. It's very interesting. Incidentally, I'm switching the D&D Beyond overlay to Odyssey characters, so we got those up on the thing. Come on, save. There we go. Okay. So the players did something that I was not remotely expecting. They just went to the Garden of Helios, which I had read before, months prior. I didn't really know what was going on. I knew Helios was a dragon and not actually a god, and I knew that there were cyclopes on the island, and that was kind of all I knew. I vaguely remember reading about Polyphemus. And one of the things that A-Lot asked me to do is to cover running something you've only skimmed before. So the question is, how did I do it? And honestly, so here's what happened. I had these three details. I knew that Helios was pretending to be a god, but was actually a dragon. I knew that there were cyclopes on this island who would then, and that was pretty much all I knew about them. And then I knew that Alaris, the dragon slayer, is fated to kill Helios, this dragon. That's literally her epic path. Epic path, Dragon Slayer. Helios has long anticipated the arrival of the Dragon Slayer. He was told by the fates that someone from their family or village would one day kill him. Consequently, he rained fire down upon their village, but he can never confirm whether the Dragon Slayer survived. Now he hopes to rectify his past failure. So he plans on killing Alaris. Like, that's his jam. He wants to kill her before she can kill him. Think about the way. Yeah, no, he's a total liar, and they called him out. Alaris nat 20 an insight check, and he does not have his deception is not nearly as high as her insight. So she kind of rocked that, and he was boned from the start. So those were the only things that I knew. So number one, how to run this without having fully read it before was I honestly read it while the players were talking about stuff. There were, if you go back and watch it, you can I'm sure you can pinpoint the moments where I was just not paying attention to what the players were saying at all, and instead just reading the book. And I was kind of flipping through a few different locations, thinking, okay, what do I know the best? What can I railroad them towards right now? What can I force them to do that I'm more familiar with? And I came up blank. I couldn't think of anything that I could run well in the moment because I had prepared for the one thing that I expected them to do. And I really expected them to fight the Lotus Witch. Didn't happen. So I read. I skipped this, which kind of sucked because I would have noticed this sentence. Anyone landing faces a long climb up to the island's plateau-like top. The players were asking, how the hell do we get up to the top? How do we get up to the top? How do we get up to the top? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It looks like it's all cliffs. I don't know. And they decided, okay, well, we'll land over here. We'll land on this island first. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, you do that. Decide what you're going to do, and I will continue to read. And I kept reading. I already knew this. So one of the things that I did was I kind of skimmed for bold text and I skimmed for numbers. I saw this number. I was Wormling 600 years ago. Okay, cool. That makes him an adult dragon. Whatever. That's not super useful. Suspicious of anyone who comes to the island. Okay, cool. That's the thing I know. And then I got to here. I was like, okay, read aloud text. What's the what's the call out to the read aloud text? Okay, Cyclopes greet visitors, bring those presents. They're stupid, but they're ordered to be gracious. Cool. Okay, so off of those 2 details, I came up with a boat full of Cyclopes sailing out to meet the heroes. The boat is as big as yours, despite the fact that there's only 6 of them because they're huge dudes. And then I broke out my dumb person voice. Great sun god Helios, welcome you to island. I just break out my stupid person voice, which my players love. Everyone loves it. And then this screwed me up. You arrive at the prepared feast set on a pristine sandy beach that borders a crystal clear pool at the center of the small island. I was like, okay, the small island. This island's pretty small. Which one's at the center? Is it the center pool or is it the one that's closer to the center? Turns out it's this one. It's referring to this smaller of the 2 islands, but I told my players that they were going to this one. Whoops. That's fine. These are things that I'm learning afterwards, having read again. But, I saw this detail and I was like, it's not super important exactly where this is. So it's this pond or this pool. I'm not even sure where the detail is. Couple of anchorages, most of the island. Somewhere. Oh, he waits to the party on the small island where he makes his home. I don't even know where the detail is, but there's a detail somewhere around here that says that this island is the one that Helios spends most of his time on. Hi, I'm doing good. It's fine. You're just in time. I'm explaining. You're kind of late, but it's fine. I'm explaining how I ran this, having never read it or having read it once months prior, which is something that you asked for. So essentially, I just invented details to try to stretch things out. I latched onto details that I could pick up by skimming through the book, and I made generous use of read aloud text. The read aloud text was an absolute savior, even though, and here's the funny thing, this is something that's very interesting about the way I work. I focus so hard on making read aloud text dynamic and interesting, the way that I'm intoning and reading it, that I literally do not comprehend any of it. I do not. None of it, it's in one ear, out my mouth. It doesn't even go out the other ear. It's just right out my mouth. It just does not stay in my head. So what I did while I was doing this was I made sure to read aloud text, because I know that this book has a tendency to put very important details only in the read aloud text. And only in the read aloud text. I latched on to spend their lives raising large herds of elephants as cattle. I already knew that he was a dragon pretending to be a person. I noticed numbers in bold, and basically just skimmed for as many details as I could find. And I got several things wrong. I put the party at the wrong island. I invented an elevator because I figured there had to be some way for the Cyclopes to get up and down. Because I couldn't find a detail about a switchback trail or anything like that. So I was like, what's cool? Elevator. Cyclops powered elevator. Fuck it. So there were all these things that I just invented to solve problems that the book had already solved. That I couldn't find quickly. So I didn't decide, Jesse powered elevator. Scorpius powered elevator. And then when it got to the part where combat was about to happen, 45 minutes before the planned end of our session, and I had nothing prepared for it, I ended the session. I just ended the session early. I was like, okay, we'll roll initiative next time on Dungeons & Dragons. Whatever. So, where'd I get the idea for an elevator? I don't know. It popped in my head. Sounded like a cool idea. I was like, okay, well, what's the most reasonable thing, for a bunch of Cyclopses to get back up this friggin' cliff? I don't know. Elevator. You just pull a rope. Cool. Elevator. Done. It just popped in my head. I don't know. Politely converses, and then I desperately tried. So I did notice this paragraph. He converses with the heroes for a little while. He asks about the heroic exploits and appears duly impressed if they describe their deeds. And I desperately tried to get them to talk about the things that they've done, but they really just wanted to hone in on, why are you such a bitch? No, really, why are you such a bitch? So he got pissed, and then I was like, okay, well, eventually he grows bored with the heroes, which was another thing that I read while we were role-playing, because he's just this arrogant asshole, and he's trying, I was trying to get them to start talking, so that I could basically just ignore them, not ask any follow-up questions, pretend to be impressed, and realistically continue reading. And then, I read the read-aloud text as he transforms, and then I ended the session. So that's how I ran it, having never really prepped it. It could have gone better. It also could have gone a lot worse. I'm happy with how it went. I think the one major screw up was putting it on the wrong island. Oh no. I still have no idea what the 1 and the 2 are. I have no fucking clue what those are for. But I've got a few things that I need to do before we really get into prep. So first I need to fix Scorpius' homebrew race. So when I built Scorpius' homebrew race of TGT, or Thylean Medusa, I did not account for the fact that eventually he would be using strength as his main stat. I just based his snake hair on dex because I think it's supposed... Well, no, I said that it counts as a monk weapon, which means... I told him I will allow it to count as a monk weapon, which means he can use strength or dex. So we're going to open up TGT Thylean Medusa. We're going to go into racial traits. We're going to go into snake hair. This should be really easy. Actions, edit, and then ability score type, strength. Done. So now he uses strength. Done. And I know that the feature in the book says dexterity, and I don't care because it's a monk weapon for him. So he gets to use either. That's how monk weapons work. So that's fixed. All right, cool. That's done. Create a belt of Geigen strength. I can do that too. Create a magic item. That's really easy. So we're going to use a belt of fire giant strength. Create. So that's statistically what it is. So we're going to call it belt of Geigen strength. While wearing, this harness is made of leather, imbued with the intact nervous system of a Geigen, a singular I'm gonna say tennis ball sized. I had a hard time at the table. I was like, what's between a tennis ball and a golf ball? And it's just like, we're gonna go tangerine sized. Tangerine sized eyeball sits at the belt buckle, slowly looking around in every direction. Attached to it is what you do for everything you haven't bought on D&D Beyond. Copy and paste. Yeah. Well, I'm actually I own the Belt of Fire Giant Strength on D&D Beyond. I'm just making a copy of it because I want to modify it slightly. Very much, and I acknowledge the council's made a decision, but granted, it's a stupid ass decision. I've elected to ignore it. Shadows knows what's up. Attached to it, the 6 arms and 2 legs of the Geigen wrap around the waist and shoulders of the wearer. The nerves from the 6. If you look closely, you can count the nerves fanning out into 30 fingers. Gross. So save changes. I just wanted to add some flavor text to it, and then we're going to add a modifier And then we're going to give him resistance to, I hate when it does that. We're going to give it resistance to fire, because that's a thing that his belt does, and that's right from the book. So if we go to Nya, let's see, where do I need to go? Appendix A, cursed one. Belt of Fire Giant Strength. The belt also grants resistance to fire. Neat. So that's what he got. He's got this Belt of Fire Giant Strength that also gives resistance to fire. So that's what I'm building. Go back to the Garden of Helios. Go back here, save changes, and then I'm going to go to his character sheet by way of Helios. Would I accept use enemy-friendly summons from this book? Yeah, so at some point on our Discord, in the Odyssey Spoilers channel, I posted a list of all of the Odyssey-specific monsters sorted by CR that I'm willing to accept as summons. Because there are a good deal of monsters in the book that are just not suitable for summons, like boss monsters or named creatures, stuff like that. But if you go to the Odyssey Spoilers channel, it is pinned in there. I have a list of all of the acceptable summons. Notably, at CR9, which is where they're at, we have Centaur Lord, Gigantes, Dreadwolf, and Cryosphinx. And if you're not on our Discord, please join our Discord. Shadows just dropped the link in chat. Where would you rank this module in difficult to run? 1 being easy peasy and 10 just being hell. I would give it a 4. I think this module is pretty easy. I think I would say, to give some context, I would put Curse of Strahd at a 2. And I would put Dragon Heist at a 6, if you're familiar with either of those. I think this module is actually pretty easy to run. It does require a good deal of reading prior, and it definitely benefits from a decent amount of foreshadowing. But as long as you have a solid grasp on 5e rules, it's very nice to run. I don't hate it. So we're gonna replace his Belt of Fire Giant Strength with a Belt of Geigen Strength. So we're gonna remove that. Geigen Strength, attune. There we go. So now he's got a Belt of Geigen Strength, gives him resistance to fire, 25 strength. I think it's hard to read, but it feels really linear. There's a lot of integral character buy-in that makes players want to keep going. Absolutely, yeah. So the epic paths make things super easy for character buy-in. You know, and if you read through a decent chunk of the book before you do your session 0 and your players are picking out epic paths, you can work with them to kind of finagle with stuff. So for instance, our gifted one wanted to not be the granddaughter of Sidon, but instead a statue that gained life somehow, but she still wanted to be a gifted one. I'm like, okay, well, and then, you know, I figured it out, and I didn't really need to give him any details there, but essentially what happened is, instead of being the granddaughter of Sidon, he's the reincarnation of the soul of a daughter of Sidon, which is basically the same thing, right? I think it's just like, it's still 2 steps removed from Sidon. So like story-wise, it's essentially the same thing. Dragon Heist, I think, should be that high because the book is just laid out really weird. Chapter 4, which is the chase through the city, I think it's chapter 4, was kind of a nightmare to figure out and flip back and forth through the book. Made it very difficult to run at the table. And if you're not hyper familiar with the factions of the Forgotten Realms, which a brand new DM would not be, it can get really confusing, especially with the Zentarum and Xanathar. Both, they're spelled very differently. You know, one starts with a Z, one starts with an X, but they both start with a Z sound that can get really confusing. So yeah, I think Dragon Heist is more difficult to run than this. This has some major room for improvement. I will say that. But even if you don't do any of that improvement, it still ends up being an enjoyable game. I think the hardest thing to remember, hardest thing to do as a DM with this module is remembering to go back to chapter 1 and look at 2 things. Well, basically one thing, running the adventure. You want to reread this section pretty much every friggin' session. Namely, playing the villains to check if there's any events for the villains that you want to do now. For instance, I've been putting off Corruption of Lutheria just because I keep forgetting about it. And running the epic paths. You absolutely need to reread running the epic paths frequently for every one of your players' epic paths. So yeah, hardest part for me is just rereading those 7 or 8 pages. So that's my review of the book, I guess. So we're going back to the Garden of Helios. So I created the Belt of Guiding Strength. I covered running something you've only skimmed before. First thing I want to do is this guy. Prep Chris's plan of Yasena slowly changes the conversation ever so slightly, and eventually the time loop destabilizes and they start a fight. So, one of the things that happened last session was the players did not fight the Lotus Witch. I was upset about this. I was unprepared for what happened next. A lot of things happened. They just had this conversation and they left. One of the really cool things that accidentally happened was as they were leaving, I said that they walked past themselves in some weird time loop thing. And then Chris said, okay, Yasena, my character, is going to swap places with, herself. Essentially having one Yasena that just goes back into this, into the Lotus Witch over and over and over and over again, and one Yasena that literally gets off the boat and leaves. And now the Yasena that we're playing with is the Yasena that got off the boat and then went right back to the boat. Meaning there's this Yasena who keeps seeing the same conversation play out over and over and over and over and over and over again. But she sees it every time. She remembers it every time, which means she can affect it every time. And I've already told them it's a self-stable time loop. Fuck it, whatever. I'm not... Yeah, this is why you don't add time travel into D&D. But this actually gives us a very good opportunity to fix things. So basically what I'm going to do is Yasena slowly changes the conversation over hundreds of iterations. By the time while the PCs are en route to their next destination, they suddenly remember having fought the Lotus Witch. Ask them, do you want to know how that went? Ask the players. If yes, roll initiative. If no, cool, whatever. So this is what we're going to do. So I prepped this huge fight for the Lotus Witch. I showed it off on the last DM prep. And if they say, yeah, I want to know how that fight went, I tell them roll initiative. And we flash back to them fighting the Lotus Witch. Now here's the issue with a flashback. They have to win. That's fine. They know they have to win. That's fine. They can still die. I can have any number of them die. Number one, because they have, thanks for asking. Number one, every single one of them except Alaris has a get out of death free card. Alaris already used hers. Helios had 2, used 1, has 1 left over. So all I have to do is avoid killing specifically Alaris, and nothing gets ruined. And even if she did die, Revivify exists, although I think she might be the only one. No, Helios can cast it. I'm going to check right now whether or not Helios has Revivify prepared. Because if you do, then there's literally no problem. Nope, I actually just want your character sheet. We're going to see if Helios has Revivify prepared. Because if he does, no problem. I can kill literally any one of them as long as it's not a TPK. He does not... Oh, no, 3rd level. He does not have a Revivify prepared. Damn. Okay, so don't kill Alaris. That's it. You could technically prepare different spells for the fight since it's on a different day, though, right? Yeah, they could. I'm, for the sake of making things easy, I'm probably going to say don't do that. So that's, but this is en route to the next destination. So that's not, you know, that's not until after they're done here on the Garden of Helios. So prep 2 Helios fights. First fight, he's going to hit and run. He's going to drop his Frightening Presence. He's going to do his whole multi-attack. He's going to do Frightening Presence, Claw Bite. He's going to lay it all on Alaris, try and kill her. And then as soon as he sees that there is significant threat to his life, he's going to use a wing attack to knock everyone down and fly away. And then he's just going to fly the fuck away. And as an adult gold dragon, he should have like 80-foot fly speed. 80-foot fly speed. Can't kill Alaris, but she's the... No. Andy, so can't kill Alaris against the Lotus Witch. I can kill Alaris with Helios. That's not a problem. Helios can kill Alaris. Getting Alaris back from the dead is going to be a little bit more difficult. Did Tasha's add Raise Dead to the Druid spell list? They did not. Okay, so Raise Dead was not added to the Druid spell list, but Revivify was. But Helios doesn't have Revivify prepared. And I think it's just Helios and Alaris who can prepare it. I love doing time travel BS. Yeah. Cleric. Artificer, but he doesn't have 3rd level spells yet. Yeah. So it's just Helios and Alaris. Does the dragon have a horde on the island? I'm glad you asked. So once he runs away, he will flee to his lair. What's his lair? So I read this chapter like 4 times. It does not tell me where his hoard is. It tells me that he has a hoard. He's got a massive hoard of 40,000 gold pieces and coins and precious jewels. And the pride and joy of his hoard. Raised Dead Scroll. That's a good point. Okay. What kind of self-respecting dragon wouldn't? Exactly. Pride and joy of his hoard is a beautiful golden chariot of dawn. Apparently, so I looked at the chariot of dawn in this book, and it's a piece of crap. But flying chariot is a magic item that got added to the Theros. Bam! If this magic chariot is pulled by one or more flying creatures, it too can fly. That's it, and then you get +1 bonus to AC. Yeah, I like this. So he's got a flying chariot. Helios is the only one who can't be brought back once they die, right? Yes. Once Helios dies the second time, he cannot, or once he has one more get out of jail free. If he dies a 3rd time, he cannot be brought back. So I'm kind of hoping to kill him one more time and just immediately gets true rezzed, and then have him die for the 3rd time against Lutheria. That's my hope. What would happen if Helios used Reincarnate on one of the others? They would be reincarnated. I would probably go and find a table, a more complete table than the one in the player's handbook. Maybe replace some of the races on that list with Thylian races, just to give them a chance of actually landing on stuff. Woman in black armor, I don't know who you're referring to, Shadows. Helios is going to go kick the dragons, yeah. It's getting really confusing because we have the Helios the dragon and we have Helios the let's just call him Hislith. Oh, we got Cheerspiration from Mandy, thanks. Oh, box text, Anger of the Furies. So yeah, there is an Erinyes, the Furies. So Helios has broken the law. Oh, thanks, we got 2 cheers from Andy. Oh my god, I have so many already. All right, we got 3 cheers from Andy. Hip hip hooray. 4 cheers, okay. Andy. Is it 5 now? Oh my god, I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 18. Cool, 6 total. Thanks, Andy. So yeah, Helios has broken the law of guest friendship by attacking them at a meal that he has given them. He has invited them into his home and fed them a meal, so they have guest friendship. And by attacking them, he has angered the Furies. So I can choose to have an Erinyes show up to try and capture Helios if the players are doing really badly. So I think that would be really cool. It's kind of a get out of jail free in this instance, but it does prevent Alaris from actually killing him, because the Erinyes will use the Rope of Entanglement and then teleport away, which means he won't die. He'll be on the Island of Oathbreakers, so they would have to go there at some point to kill him. And Alaris gets a boon once she actually kills Helios, and that boon is advantage on attacks against dragons and creatures with dragons, and dragons have disadvantage on saves against her spells. So she becomes the Dragon Slayer, like very much so. Shows the gods are also brought to heal by oaths and curses just the same. So here's the thing. Helios isn't a god. He was never a god. So kind of hoping they do kill him so that Alaris can continue receiving her miracles from Helios. And she goes, wait, what? Hey, Gig Albert is now following. Thanks for the follow, Gig Albert. So prep 2 Helios fights. So I have to prep some Helios fights. And I'm going to need some battle maps. I don't know why these are here. Why did they go here? That's a weird place for those. Helios party fight and Helios lair. Hello from Spain. Wow. Thanks for being here. Just thought, I don't know if I missed it. Flashback, which fight do you need to keep the current stats items there for the fight? I'm not gonna worry about it. Time travel bullshit is bad enough. I'm not gonna worry about like current stats or whatever. I do know that they went into that fight just having long rested. Scorpius will have already had the Belt of Fire Giant strength, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So I need 2 battle maps. I need a. We're gonna go to Reddit. Our battle maps. Battle maps. It's fine. Yeah, we're literally gonna hand wave it, as Andy is saying. So we're gonna go to our battle maps. I love this subreddit. It's phenomenal. Beach Feast. Fuck. So I could put together. Someone uploaded 3,400 downloadable maps today. What? Where? Is it on the subreddit? Where? Hey, lot, where? This is neat. This would be cool. To have when I was doing the thing. The color extract. What is going on? Okay. There are not a lot of feasts. Ooh, camp maps. I like camp maps. Let's check them out. Nope. No. 15 maps. No. This came up when I searched feast. Here we go. Crap. Man. So I think the way to do this is actually to do something like this and then just grab like a feast table token. Nope. Nope. I need like a promontory. This could work. Use the tool and roll 20 blue highlights. I don't know what you're referring to. I kind of just don't hate this. It doesn't need to be perfect. Let me just rotate it too. Kind of want a beachy promontory. Oh, okay. The web token tools thingy. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Banquet. I'm getting like banquet halls. Okay. Chairs. Yeah, so here we go. I got chair. Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, I want kind of like a beachy promontory. Not beach episode. Not a cove. Sandbar. Fuck. See if you got any results. Damn. Not enough land. No, not quite. That's really cool, but no. How about that? Too many boulders. I'm being very picky, I know. No. Whoa. Wow. 3D rendered. Cliffside Beach. I like this. I'm gonna go with this. This looks cool. Okay. Save images. Odyssey maps. Digging through your saves. You have too many. That's fine. I think I found a good one. So we're gonna upload Odyssey maps, and I didn't bother renaming it, so it's just 2.8. And then I need to see how big this file is. How big this image? 3000 by 2600. That is not an even. That's annoying. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 26. Okay, so it's okay. So it's gonna be 30. Okay, so it's just 100 pixel squares. Oh, that's in the wrong layer. We're gonna put that on the map layer. Move to the map. We'll move you to the map layer while we're at it. Layer, map layer. Map to back. Set dimensions, and then 3000 times 0.7, 2100 by 2600 times 0.7. No, don't make me do this. It's minus 280s, 1820. Look at that. Fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. We've got our grid like perfectly lined up with its grid. Perfect. Looks good. All right, so now I just gotta add chairs and a table. Let's put the map on the token layer and the tokens on the map layer. I'm sure that went well. We got this guy, rotate it this way, move it halfway between the squares. Let's get a premium assets table. Oh, there's just a whole table. That works. All right, screw these. Whoa. That is one thing that I hate about building maps out of a variety of things. You can't drag to select. You just can't. So I'm just gonna scale this big. That looks good to me. Looks good to me. Whoop. This is a good size. We're gonna rotate it. Put him like right at the edge of the water. The players can figure out what square they're in. That's fine. And now I just need 5e tools. Gold dragon. Odyssey tokens. Ping. My library upload. Odyssey tokens. Adult gold dragon. Yeah, at least I didn't delete it on stream. That would, poof, that would be a nightmare. That would be like the worst thing you could ever do. That's not nice. Steph isn't here to defend. Whoa, Steph isn't here to defend herself. I'm like, how did that 3x3? And then I realized that I'm on the map layer. So he's here. Let's go to the landing page. And hey, we got Octavian Wolf is now following. Thanks for the follow, Octavian Wolf. So we're going to copy these. You might notice that I spam Control V because, yeah. And I can't exactly remember where the players sat, so I'm just going to kind of throw them. And I want to say Scorpius was across from Alaris. Maybe it was, I can't remember. I can't remember. So I'm just going to arrange them kind of haphazardly. I am going to put them in chairs, though. Amber was at his right hand. That's the only one I remember, yeah. I remember someone specifically said they were across from Alaris. Don't remember who it was. It's fine. We'll start the session, and I'll say, you know, you can figure out where you're at. So that's that. So that's the first of the 2 battle maps that I need to make. The second is, so one of the cool things is that the Gifted One discovers the instant fortress in this treasure hoard. This is the fortress of the Dragon Lords. So there's this cool thing going on the Odyssey Discord where a lot of people make the flying fortress, or make the instant fortress into a flying fortress. And I am so about that. So when Helios flies off from this fight, he's going to just fly up into the clouds. And as he does so, he's going to punch a hole in it, just big enough for them to see that there's a fucking castle up there. So I need a flying castle battle map. I feel like that can't be hard to find. I feel like. Oh my god. It's apparently hard to find. Do I like it? Do I like it enough? I think I like this enough to just ship it. I think I like this as is. Not gonna lie with you. Not gonna lie to you. I really like this. There's a landing dock just large enough for Helios to land on. No, I'm super jazzed about this. This is friggin' awesome. I'm gonna do this. This is the thing. I think it's friggin' cool. So Helios layer. Up on the load. Go to the maps. Flying castle. And then I just need to figure out how big this image is so I can scale it properly in Roll20. The art is cool, but the map is meh. Agreed, but I only really need this for one fight. I don't think it doesn't need to be a particularly complicated fight either. By the time they get up to the castle, Helios would probably just be standing atop the parapet and breathe fire at them. And then they can either like run up the walls or ignore you then. I'm not ignoring you. The map is kind of meh, but it doesn't need to be amazing is my point. I don't know, you got a better idea? Advanced, set dimensions by 2438. Does this just line up with the grid as is? Probably not. They never do. But my area is not big enough to even know, so. Let's just 50 by 40. 35, okay, so. Yep, that works. There we go. Of course it doesn't line up with a grid. That would be convenient. All right. Line to grid. Works for one thing. Yeah. So here's the thing. I really only need this for one fight because my plan isn't to have my players be in this castle. My plan, sure, that's line to grid. My plan is to have them. I'm going to tell them that there are, okay, so it's not quite, so you can see that vertically it's not quite, so I'm going to change the height. I'm going to change it to 1880, and that'll kind of shrink it in a little bit. That's not enough, so we're going to do another 10. We're going to do another 20, 1860. And that looks pretty much perfect. So that's aligned to the grid now, but it's not in the right spot, so I just need to move it up 5 squares and to the left 6. And now that it's in the right spot, I can line it up with the, oop, that's too high. And then I can line it up with the grid. Zoom in. Move that over 1. Oops, there we go. All right, cool. There has to be a tree growing out of stone. There's also bushes in the building. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You don't have bushes in your building? Oh, that's not the building. That's a courtyard. Yeah, that's a courtyard there. Like, there's this low wall, and then there's the building inside of that. Most everything else floating is a bit too detailed to believably belong to Helios. So it's... No, it's Helios. Helios. One of those. Oh, there's one Z. Helios. It's really Helios, but that's fine. So it is detailed. It is too detailed to believably belong to Helios because it isn't his. This is the fortress of the Dragon Lords. It's essentially their mobile base of operations or whatever. But my plan is for them to use, so it's essentially going to have 3 modes. It's got carried around as a little box mode. It's got turn it into a flying castle mode, and it's got essentially just be a bunch of flying parts mode that they can then retrofit to the Ultros and then use the Ultros as a flying ship. So that's my plan. And scrolling through the sub, there are a lot of floating things to do. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So how much less wide do I want this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, I'm not going to cut it. Yep. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 11 by 7 I need to cut off. Can I move this left? Can I move this to the left one? Looks like I can. Did I just nail that in one? Awesome. So 12 and 7. I hate when people don't line up their map to a grid. It makes it so much harder to like get it to show up on Roll20 in a way that doesn't suck. So yeah, we got Flying Castle. Fucking love the idea of a flying option. Darren's Instant Fortress and Ian's Instant Castle. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So we're going to drop a Helios. He's going to be on top of the parapet. He's going to breathe down at them as soon as they get up there. And yeah, it's going to be a fight from there. But here's the other thing. He's got help. He has bronze automata sent by Sidon to help defend his castle, and they will be placed at strategic positions. So it looks like we've got a spiral staircase over here that leads all the way up to this tower. Do bronze automata have ranged attacks at all? Or do they just have the... They just have the glaive. Okay. Okay. So, they gotta be posted to the Discord spoilers just out of general. This is neat. I like this one. Let's check them out. Let's check them out. Check them out. Floating Sky Castle. Whoa, that's cool. That's really neat. The fact that it's docked makes this difficult. Oh, I saw this the other day. I really like this, but obviously not for Hizelith. But yeah, this is really cool. Just the fact that it's docked makes it kind of... so, Bronze Automaton. So obviously 2 stationed at the door, but then also... So we've got like the main door here. Like that seems to be the only door in. I would say this is more of a barracks than a guest bedroom, than the guest bedroom it looks like. Probably more barracks here. Like this, so if this thing were the Fortress of the Dragon Lords, it should be way more, like there should be way more bedrooms and way more beds in it than there are. But that's okay. So we're just going to drop a bunch of bronze automata. Also, we're accidentally dropping all of these on the map layer, so let's move to the token layer. 2 guarding this door. Let me guess, their nameplates are visible. Of course they are. So let's just delete them all. That one has an invisible nameplate, so let's just make a bunch of those. That way the players can't see them through the doors. So I can position this guy like right next to the door, position this guy right next to the door, and then I can actually, you know, I'm gonna check to see if your map is on the token layer. Map is indeed on the map layer, so that's good. All right, so I'm gonna set up some dynamic lighting lines because fuck it, right? Polygon line. That's a line. That's a line. That's a line. We're going to outline the entire building, I guess. So this is actually the first time I've set up dynamic lighting lines on a map before, or ever. I mean, I've never had to actually set up dynamic lighting on a map. Usually, the maps where I want dynamic lighting, I already have dynamic lighting. This is fun. Oh yeah, health bars, love it. I don't care. That's my answer to that. That is my answer to that. Okay, so that's all the walls. Do you hide them to preserve mystery? Yeah, basically. I generally hide health bars to preserve the mystery of how well the enemy is doing, and also because I frequently... Here's a DM tip for you. I frequently cheat with my monsters. If I think the monster is getting murdered, I will just give it more hit points. If I think it should die on a specific attack, but it still has hit points left, I'll just say it dies. So I frequently cheat with my monsters' hit points. That's just a thing I do. So having the health bars hidden helps me do that. Done the same thing, but yeah. I've only ever played Roll20 games where I could see health bars. As a good DM should. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for being there for me. So now I'm going to switch to red. So on dynamic lighting layers, the color doesn't make any difference except like for you. So when the players go in this room, I know I can you know, this red bit is a door I can delete. That's all. That's all that is. So I'm just covering all the doors with dynamic lighting. And I made this. Oh, crap. I just went right over the door with that line, so I have to redo that line. Whoops. Whoopsie doodle. Okay, now I can do a red line for the door. And then we'll go back to black. Oh, nope, we still want to be on dynamic lighting. And then we can go back to black. And then I just want to put little X's in the pillars so that there's just a little bit of line of sight going on with the pillory bits. Players aren't as observant as you think. Some of my players are very observant, and other players are not nearly as observant. So I cater to the most observant of my players because I don't want to get called out for cheating. I don't think I'm going to bother putting dynamic lighting lines on these because it's pretty clear that you can see at least some of it from the outside, so I'm just not going to bother. But yeah, so I got 5 bronze automata, and they're going to sort of stymie attempts to get up to Helios. One of your players knows every stat block by heart. Yeah, I wonder who that is. That guy's an asshole, probably. For those of you who don't know, he's referring to me. I'm one of his players, and I know all the stat blocks. So here, there we go. I prepped another fight with Helios, and let's see what happens if I drop some player tokens in here. So let's grab all the player tokens as I mash Control C to make sure it copies, and we'll paste them down here. And we'll move Yasena here and check out her vision. It actually helps to turn on dynamic lighting because I actually turned that off. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to turn on Explorer mode. We're going to turn on daylight mode, and we're going to turn on update when token drop. So let's see what Yasena can see. Not much. So what I am going to do, and here's a cute little trick. I want my players to be able to see this side view. So I'm going to make a transparent pixel. I'm going to have to grab it. And then I am going to assign it to all players. And I'm going to give it vision. Save. So now if I check what does Yasena see, then I'm only going to be able to see this. But if I check what this token can see, then it can see all of these things. So that's cool. And I'm actually going to copy this. I'm going to put a few. Because I want, and then we're just going to drop it here. And I'm going to drop one here. So essentially what I want is I want them to be able to see everything outside. So now each of these tokens can see the outside of this place by way of those tokens that belong to every player. Who can fly? I don't know. They're going to have to figure it out. You know, they might figure it out tomorrow. They might have to prep some new spells. I'm highly doubting Folon's going to end up going up there. Yeah, the drawbridge naturally clusters them up. Fire breath. That said, if they're flying up to here, they don't need to land on the drawbridge. They could just fly right up to Helios. So, depending on how they get up here, we'll see what happens. But I just dropped their tokens here for now, just to see. I do think having all these transparent pixels is slowing things down, though. So I'm going to delete the ones I don't need. So I'm going to put this guy here. And I think between the two of them... Oh, another trick is put a 0-foot aura on your transparent pixel token so that you can find it and make sure the players can't see it. The aura, I mean. So, you know, if the players can't see that aura, you now have this 5-foot aura of yellow or a 0-foot aura of yellow, so you can They can take a page out of the Curse of Strahd book, polymorph into a Quetzalcoatlus. That is a thing they could do. So between this token that can see essentially everything over here, and this token that can see everything over here, they should be able to see Helios up top, and they can see this whole side view. So that's, I think that's my DM prep. Oh, so prep the flying instant fortress stuff. So they're gonna find, obviously the horde is going to be in here. I'm probably gonna have the horde like up top on the parapet up here. 40,000 gold pieces and coins and precious jewels, a flying chariot. This entire thing is the instant fortress, and then they can. I feel like I wrote something down. Was it in here? No, it was in a conversation with my brother. Oh god, where to put it? It would take time to retrofit Magic Castle parts onto the boat, time where they couldn't sail at all. Do they have the rare items they need for Bond of the Dragon Lords? I believe so, yeah. I think they obviously have Orsino's Short Sword of Speed, but he's trying to not use that. But I believe they have other magic items they can use that they're not using otherwise. So I doubt the PCs would want to stop and wait to retrofit the Magic Castle parts onto the boat. So I'm imagining them commanding their crew to see to it while they adventure on islands, and it'll just conveniently be done after 2 island adventures. Once they reclaim the flying fortress of the Dragon Lords, they can retrofit it to the Ultros. Takes 2 full island adventures to perform the retrofitting, or just 2 days if they're willing to waste the time. Once retrofitted, sea-based random encounters no longer occur, and reduces all travel times to 2 days instead of 3. That's essentially the thing. So I'm hoping that they decide to not waste time. I'm hoping they decide not to just waste time waiting for the retrofitting to be done. You could have this impact the crew's ability to restock boat supplies, etc. How do you decide how many fiddly bits to drag the party's efficiency down with? I don't really think I want it to drag their efficiency down at all. Finding this epic thing is supposed to make them cooler. It's supposed to feel good. And if I just say it takes 2 days because you can ignore side-on storms, that means 2 things. Number 1, they have so much more time because it only takes 2 days to get to a place instead of 3. Number 2, it means that they can't sacrifice things anymore to go faster. So, if they want to get some sacrifices in now, they can, while they're still stuck in the water. It also gets rid of sea-based random encounters. And the reason I'm hoping they're not going to just wait for it to be done is because I want to run these 2 random encounters, the Gargantuan Waves and the Reef. Gargantuan Waves foreshadows Kentamane being a thing. And the Reef is another way to bleed their crew a little bit. And then, I'm planning on having other ways to bleed their crew, even in the sky. Because even if they're in the sky, they can get attacked by Gaius and Arjun. And even if they're in the sky, they can get attacked by Golaron riding a rock. Lightning is dangerous. Yeah, all this stuff is dangerous. Harpies, sure. Manticores. Flying things, just things that, and if I look at encounters, Appendix F, random sea encounters, I've even got, the sirens, nope, not sirens, not pirates. I could have sworn there was harpies. There's a harpies random encounter in the sea encounters table. 2d6 harpies descend on their ship. They drop sheep into the water. and then they lure people to jump into the ocean. Can you imagine? They're flying 1,000 feet above the water, and then they just swan dive into the water. Like, can you imagine that? That'd be crazy. The fucking crew just swan diving off the ship. That would be very bad. Or the Kraken. You know, the Kraken's a thing that exists. Yeah, so max damage still 40 d20. Woof. I think if a crew jumps off the boat, I'm just going to kill him. Like, I'm not going to roll damage. Crew's just dead. But if a player jumped off, I would probably allow them to make an athletics check to dive well. Because you can dive a great distance and land in water properly to not just die. The Kraken, it has wings. I saw a fantastic suggestion, which is that I should replace the Kraken with Tromokratus from Theros, and I'm so about that. It's a mythic Kraken. It does not have a fly speed, it only has a swim speed. Still not a threat for flying dudes, but you know, it's a thing that exists. It's got 400 hit points, and when you drop it to 0, it gets all of its hit points back. Actually, it doesn't even get its hit points back. It just reveals 4 hearts that each have 100 hit points. And then you have to kill all 4 hearts to kill it. And that's cool as hell. But yeah, so I think I'm done prepping. You know, I've got this Helios fight prepped. I found a way for them to deal with the Lotus Witch again. And essentially, I am going to... My hope is that for this session, the latter half of the session after they deal with Helios and get us Horde and all that, and then the entire next session, I'm hoping to be on the boat on the way to the next destination. So we're going to do the Lotus Witch thing, which hopefully will cause them to go fight the Lotus Witch. And then I'm going to have the random encounters. I'm gonna whip up some actual like NPC interaction, because that's something that I said that I wanted to do every time they got back on the boat, is like have some kind of NPC interaction, have some NPC story move forward, and I've done that maybe half of the times they got on the boat. Yeah, bottle episode, exactly. So I wanted to have a bottle episode. So that's probably going to be my prep for next session. Thank you for putting it into words. I've heard of that phrase before, but I wasn't thinking of it in terms of that. But yes, I'm hoping that episode 27 will be a bottle episode. So if you're really interested in bottle episodes, check out next week's DM prep. Yeah, after they kill Helios. Yes. So thank you everyone for being here. If you're watching us on Twitch right now, please check out our YouTube. We are live. Nope, got it backwards. If you're watching on Twitch, check out our YouTube, because we have every single video we've ever streamed before. They're all awesome, and we have 6 different campaigns on YouTube at this point. If you're watching on YouTube, please check out our Twitch. We're live 4 days a week. This week we're actually live 6 days a week because we're ridiculous, and I have some time off. So on Saturdays we do Odyssey of the Dragon Lords at 4 p.m. EST, which is the session that's going to come out of this prep that I just did. On Sundays, we do Curse of Strahd at 1 p.m. EST. Really just need to have Steph do the outro. She never messes up. Yeah. On Sundays, we do Curse of Strahd at 1 p.m. EST. Mondays, we do Rime of the Frost Maiden, 6:30 p.m. EST. Thursdays, I do DM prep for Odyssey and Curse of Strahd at 6 p.m. EST. Saturdays, Andy does DM prep over on his channel, Andy the Math Magician, for our Frost Maiden game, which he DMs. And then tomorrow, January 8th at 6 p.m. EST, I'm going to be running a one-shot with Mr. Nibbles. So it's going to be me and Luke. Luke is going to be playing his homunculus servant, which is an Iron Man armor-wearing squirrel. As he descends into the underworld, the one-shot is temporarily placed between episode 23 and 24 of this campaign. So it's not too far away, because we've only played episode 25, so it's not too out of order. But it's gonna be me and Luke, just the two of us, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We also have a podcast. It is available on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast. There's like 7 different platforms we're available on. So please enjoy our content in whatever way you most like. We also recently got a new merch store. And you can get all kinds of merch with our designs on it. Shop.spreadshirt.com/the Gilded Troll. Drop a command. Yeah, if you want Gilded Troll merch. And then we also have the Discord, the Twitter, and the Instagram, as always. We're very active on our Discord. We like to chat with viewers and share suggestions. And honestly, half of my good ideas for DMing come from viewers. It's fantastic, and I really enjoy having this community of people who can give me ideas. And I love sharing my ideas with people and helping people become better DMs. And I'm sure Andy will say the same thing. And then Instagram for behind the scenes pictures, mostly our dog, who's adorable, and Twitter for the occasional opinion, and mostly just announcements. So yeah, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys next time, and I hope I will see you tomorrow for the adventures of Mr. Nibbles. Bye.